We all know the feeling where life can start to feel like a cycle of repetition. We wake up, we go to work, we handle our responsibilities, we go home, make dinner, eat, more responsibilities, go to bed, and then repeat. And after a while, it's easy to start asking, is any of this really making a difference? The day-to-day grind can so quickly start to feel meaningless. But what if we've been looking at it the wrong way? What if these small tasks are actually moments where God is inviting us to be faithful? In 1 Thessalonians 4:11 through 12, Paul, he gives us practical instructions where he says, aspire to live quietly, mind your own affairs, and work with your hands. It's a reminder that our everyday work, no matter how simple or useless it seems, is part of our calling. And so here are some practical ways we can look at this. Instead of seeing your daily tasks as chores just to check off, try to start seeing them as opportunities to reflect Christ in the way you live. How you handle the little things that speaks volumes about who you are. When you show up, do your work well and do it with a heart for God, and you create a ripple effect from that. And so here are 3 ways to make your everyday life and those tasks more meaningful. Number 1 is to invite God into your routine. Often we reserve our spiritual lives, these specific moments, to Sunday morning worship, a devotional time, or maybe even a small group study. But what if we invited God into the absolutely ordinary, everyday moments of our lives? Imagine starting your day not with a sigh over the task ahead, but with a prayer that says, God, help me see you in everything I do today, no matter how small it is. When you're making breakfast, driving to work, folding laundry, you can ask God, how can I honor you in this moment? And this simple practice, it shifts your mindset from just getting through the day to being mindful that every single moment has potential for connection with you and God. It changes your heart from seeing these things as chores to seeing them as opportunities for worship. The Bible says it, whether you eat or whether you drink, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. This means even in your everyday task, He's present. You might not feel a spiritual awakening, if you will, every time you do the dishes, but over time, this habit of inviting God into your routine will change your heart. It builds a deeper awareness of God's presence in every single moment, helping you live with greater purpose and greater gratitude for who He is. Number 2 is for us to change our perspectives. Sometimes all it takes to find purpose in the mundane is a simple shift in perspective. We tend to view things like taking out the trash, responding to emails, or maybe cleaning up after the kids as just another to-do on the endless list. But in reality, these are opportunities to serve both God and the people around us. You see, Jesus himself, he was no stranger to the simple, to the mundane. He worked with his hands as a carpenter before his public ministry. And even when he began teaching and began healing, he didn't seek out fame. He spent time with the overlooked, the unseen, the undervalued. You see, if Jesus, the Son of God, found purpose in humble, everyday work, surely you and I can too. When you change your perspective from, I have to do this, to I get to do this, everything shifts. You're not just making dinner for your family. You're creating an environment of love and care. You're not just handling spreadsheets at work. You're contributing to the well-being of your colleagues, the growth of your company. Even in the smallest task, we can have a ripple effect that touches the lives beyond what you'll ever see. Be faithful, even in the simple. And number 3 is be consistent even when no one's watching. Some of the most important work in God's kingdom happens behind the scenes. It's the parent who gets up in the middle of the night to comfort a sick child. It's the person who takes time out of their day to listen to a friend who's struggling, the volunteer who cleans the church bathrooms after everyone's gone. These acts of service, they may not necessarily get the headlines, but they matter deeply to God. Jesus said, when you give to the needy, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing in Matthew chapter 6, verse 3. You see, quiet faithfulness reflects a heart that's more concerned with God's approval than with the world's applause. This point is freeing. When you stop working for recognition and start working simply because you want to honor and glorify God, you're released from the burden of seeking approval from others. You can give your best without the need for validation, trusting that it's God who sees and honors your faithfulness. Over time, this shift will bring a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment with what you do. And so the next time you feel discouraged because no one noticed your effort, remind yourself, God sees, God's noticed. And so the truth is, God isn't just in the big life-changing moments. He's in the small, repetitive, everyday things too. The next time you're folding laundry, making food, answering emails, dealing with the pile of paperwork, remind yourself, that simple opportunity is an opportunity to reflect Christ through the way you work and the way you serve. And so your engagement question for the day, if you had to choose the most boring or the worst daily task award, what would win for you? And how could your perspective potentially change for it not to feel meaningless, but as a way of working for the Lord?